What's going on, everybody? Another episode of Monday Night Raw on the books. So, of course, you get another review from yours truly. Back at it again. If there's one thing I try to be, it's consistent. Enough talk. Let's get right into it. Show opens. You got Seth Rollins, Bron Breakker, and Paul Heyman. They go to the ring, make their way to the ring. The fans are surrogating Seth Rollins. They're singing his praises. And then Seth Rollins basically goes on to tell how he's the best thing since sliced bread. The future goes through Seth, and Seth had to be the one to win the triple threat, and Seth this, and Seth that, and he's the greatest, and yada, yada, yada. You already know how Seth does. Supposedly, the jacket he was wearing was like $13,000 US. Good for you, Seth Rollins. Phenomenal. You must be backing up what you're talking, because not anybody could just go out and buy that. Also, the glasses he was wearing, absolutely insane. They had like these eyes on the front of the glasses. If you've seen them, you've seen them. If not, I'll try to find a picture. But it was insane. I digress. Seth rambles on and Sami Zayn interferes. Now, Sami's whole point is that, you know what? I've known you for a long time. Seth and Sami seem to have this bromance that, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know about. I guess it was something that's going on behind the scenes. Seth and Sami were talking about how when Seth had his first child, he was the one who called Sami, and Sami gave him some advice. And now essentially, Seth Rollins wants to return the favor, give Sami Zayn some advice. And so essentially he was saying, you know what, bro? I love you, and because I love you, I'm gonna give you an offer. I feel like you're not really feeling this new wave right now with me, Bron, and Paul. So here's what we're gonna do. Go to SmackDown, get out of the way, and then we'll all be good. Just you have the rest of the night to let me know. Oh, sorry, I did jump ahead a little bit. Before we got there, Sami Zayn was basically telling Seth Rollins that, yo, like, I think you're just obsessed with Roman Reigns and CM Punk. I feel like you want to be in their position, because what do you have now that they both had? That man right there. He points to Paul Heyman, and I love how they're talking about Paul Heyman like he's just a piece of meat, or like they won him in some type of contest. But this is what it is. We're talking about Paul Heyman. So Seth Rollins goes, that's when he says, you know what, bro? I know you're not feeling this. Go to SmackDown. You have the rest of the night to think about it. It'll be best for you, and we won't have to do anything crazy. We're homies. Get out of the way if you're not down with it. You have until later on to think about it. First match of the night, we get Rhea Ripley versus Roxanne Perez, and this is basically your David versus Goliath type of match. So you have the smaller Roxanne Perez going against the powerhouse of Rhea Ripley, and I'm not gonna lie, Roxanne whipped Rhea's ass for a majority of this match. She was using her speed, she was attacking her leg for the most of the match, and you could tell Rhea was not expecting this. I also believe that Michael Cole said the exact same thing in terms of Rhea not expecting this type of fight out of smaller Roxanne Perez. She was chopping the leg. I believe she had her in a figure four at one point. The match goes on, and we get Julia running down to the ring to aid Roxanne Perez, because you know they're buddies over on NXT. So this happens. Julia eventually interferes when Rhea goes to hit the Riptide. Ref rings the bell. Julia and Roxanne Perez, they beat down Rhea Ripley. They beat her down for about a minute, but not long before you have Io Sky running down to the ring to make the save. They clean house. Rhea and Io standing tall. Backstage, we got a backstage segment. Well, no kidding, right? Backstage, we got an in-ring segment. There's a segment backstage, and it involves the Judgment Day. Basically, the guys are just chilling. They're playing video games. They're having a grand old time. And Finn Balor sets his sights on JD McDonough. Now, supposedly, JD McDonough didn't tell Finn Balor he was coming back. And so he pulls him aside and he's like, yo, bro, like, what the hell is going on? Like, why didn't you let me know? Why is everything basically so chaotic? Why didn't you give me a heads up that you were coming back? And he says he told Liv, and at this point, Liv Morgan steps in. Such phenomenal character work by Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan says, hey, why aren't you guys getting ready for your match? Again, Finn being out of the loop. I don't know why they don't just kick this dude to the curb, but I guess all good things come to those who wait. She says, why aren't you guys getting ready for your match? And Finn Balor is lost in the sauce as always. He goes, what match? So supposedly she set up a tag team match in hopes of them getting tag team contendership. And then Liv kind of throws some shade to Finn Balor. She goes, oh, since you weren't a champion, I figured you'd be excited. Oh, man. After this, we get Logan Paul in the ring, and he reminds us that he beats AJ Styles, basically saying, he's the hot guy in town now. He calls out Jey Uso. He says the one thing he hasn't done is become world champion. So now, Jey, you better watch your back because I'm coming for you. Jey Uso interferes. They get in the ring. They go talking back and forth. And it goes along the lines of Logan Paul says, you know what? You got a target on your back. I'm coming for that World Heavyweight Championship. And this run will last shorter than your Intercontinental Championship run. Jey Uso's tired of the talking, gives Logan Paul not a sweet chin music, but a super kick for his efforts. He leaves the ring. Logan Paul is looking befuddled. After that, we get the War Raiders versus JD and Finn. And this was hilarious because you have the New Day on commentary. And this was easily the highlight of the match. You get the the New Day. They say the War Raiders only want the titles back so they can not defend it for 70 days. There was a spot where Ivar did this handstand into the ropes, and he backed up and double elbowed the Judgment Day members. And you would have swore this was the greatest thing Michael Cole has ever seen. That's why he's the GOAT, because he puts things over the only way he knows how. And without blinking, Kofi Kingston goes, oh, well, I could do that, no problem. Michael Cole says, oh yeah, well, you're not 350 pounds. And then Xavier Woods hits the line of the night. He says, yeah, well, that's not to his detriment. Let's not glorify not working out. It's not his fault he's in shape. Look at our abs. Look at these abs. Essentially what happens is, when they're sitting ringside, the New Day that is, somebody gets thrown into one of the members of the New Day. I believe it was Finn Balor. Ivar throws Finn Balor into the members of the New Day, and then Ivar, like a battering ram, just throws himself into the ring. Meanwhile, Carlito's throwing distraction. He's having distraction in the ring. He has his apple on the apron. He's talking to the ref. Whole time, JD McDonagh's on the top apron. Penta comes down to the ring, runs interference, a little payback. And the whole time now I'm the first to praise Carlito, but I was thinking, bro, look what the hell's going on in the ring. Point the ref. And this is one of those moments where I had to realize, okay, you can't pick and choose when you want to suspend your disbelief for the bad guys, So I was thinking, bro, just turn around, just tell him that somebody's in the ring. He doesn't do that. Essentially, Carlito jumps down. Because of the distraction in the ring, the Viking Raiders hit their finish and pick up the pinfall. Next, we got Paul Heyman and Sami Zayn, backstage. It's a little segment. They're sitting down, and Paul Heyman sweetens the deal. He says, bro, you go to SmackDown, I've pulled some strings. You get a one-on-one match with the winner of John Cena versus Randy Orton. Automatic Universal title match. So how can you turn that down, right? Well, stay tuned because we'll see. Next, we got Becky Lynch in the ring. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not a fan of Becky Lynch's heel turn. Every time Becky Lynch goes heel, it feels super forced, but I'm jumping the gun here. She says, we're not going to do the whole murder mystery whodunit storyline, referring to Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi. She goes, you know what? I'm the one who attacked Bayley. And don't make me out to be the bad guy because Bayley's had this coming. She's been attacking me for years. And she attacked Lyra because now she was hanging out with Bayley. So it didn't make any sense to her. Lyra shows up and she says that people tried to warn her about Becky Lynch, including Bayley. Becky Lynch will do whatever she needs to do to get to the top. She'll step on whoever's neck. She'll stab whoever she has to stab in the back. And Becky was like, okay, yeah, of course she said that. She doesn't like me. They go on. It's to the point where Becky's in the ring and Lyra's in the ring and Becky's outside of the ring now. And essentially, they go, you know what? Lyra says, fight me right here, right now. Of course, Becky being a heel now, she says no. She says, you know what? Backlash. And then Lyra says, let's fight at Backlash. And I know you'll want it to be for the title, so you got it. And I'm just thinking, damn, I like Lyra Valkyria, but where did you get your bargaining skills? Say Backlash, and then if she denies that, then you sweeten the pot and put your championship on the line. But she was like, you know what? We don't do it here. We'll do it at the pay-per-view, and you get a title match. Sounds good. Like, damn. Holy shit. After that, we get a Rusev promo, and he basically says when he left, it was because he was weak. It was because he was imperfect. He had to basically tear himself down to build himself up, and that's what he's going to do to all the other superstars who aren't living up to their potential. Essentially, he's now a mercenary, and he's basically going to purge the weak of the WWE. Cool to see the angle. He faces Otis of the Alpha Academy next week. He just beat his ass last week. So I feel like this will be a squash match, but we'll see how it goes. I am interested in this new little mercenary gimmick for Rusev. And Rusev looks jacked. I don't know what he's been eating or what he's been lifting, but good for dude. It's easy to lose yourself when you have so much time off, right? Then again, he went to AEW, but I digress. We get another Judgment Day segment, and Liv Morgan asks for some time off. She asks Nick Aldis for some time off because supposedly she's shooting a movie. So she gets the time granted. Dominic Mysterio also asks for some time off. Nick Aldis says, why? What the hell do you have going on? Like, where are you going? And Dominic just says, you know what? I'm the champion. I should be able to do whatever I want to do. And Nick Aldis says, nah, we ain't having that. Mind you, before Judgment Day showed up backstage, Nick Aldis was talking to AJ Styles. Nick basically says something along the lines of, you're interrupting my time here with AJ Styles. Dominic Mysterio goes, what the hell could you be talking to AJ Styles about? A retirement home? I chuckled. The Judgment Day laughed. It was pretty funny. They walk away. AJ Styles goes, he looks at Dominic Mysterio, mind you, the Intercontinental Champion Dominic Mysterio, and he says, you know what? Speaking of opportunities, I think one just popped up. And Nick Aldis says, yeah, I think I know what you mean. So, AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. That could cook. Next, we get one of the best promos I've ever seen that's dividing the internet right now. And it was from Pat McAfee. He stands up on the table, the announce table, and he says, he's a man who wasn't handled a lot, but he's blessed to have great friends. He went from being irrelevant at nobody to being known by everybody in most of the states. He says when he dies, he wants people to remember him as a hard worker, not only for himself, but for his community, for his friends, for his fans. And he says he hopes he's remembered as an empathetic man. When he gives a lot, he gave a lot, be it to the LGBTQ, be it to the homeless shelters, be it to public schools. He says he hopes they say he left the world a better place than when he showed up. He says when he's dead and in the ground, he hopes people say, above all, that he's a loyal motherfucker. And I was like, bro, these are one of those promos that you ever see something and the effects of it just make you sit there in like silence and you just have to think about what you took in. I don't know if anybody watches Black Mirror, but after a really good Black Mirror episode, I just kind of sit there. I exit Netflix fast because they only give you like 5 seconds before they start the next episode. But you just sit there and you just let what you saw just marinate. And I was like, right on. This guy's a good dude, man. I really enjoyed this promo. He goes, SmackDown's version of Adam Pearce, get your ass out here. Basically calling Nick Aldis, who is the fill-in general manager for the night. We get Gunther versus Pat McAfee confirmed for Backlash. And I guess this is what's dividing the fans. They think Gunther deserves better. Now, in terms of a wrestling match, I would kind of have to agree. Like, this was just your world champion, but this promo, fire. He sticks up for Michael Cole, fire. You could even see Michael Cole getting emotional when Pat McAfee was speaking about him. We get a nice "Let's go Michael Cole" chant. He says, you know what? If you got beef with Michael Cole, he's been here since day one. Then you got beef with me. I'm going to do whatever I can to protect my boy. This was a beautiful segment. If you didn't like this segment, you probably have no heart. I don't know how you're watching this because you're dead. Rest in peace to you. Next, we got we get Jey Uso and Sami Zayn backstage. And Jey Uso's basically telling Sami Zayn, you know what, bro? I know you got a lot on your mind. No matter what decision you make, I'm in your corner. I've been your Uso since day one. You got this. Sami Zayn says, you know what? Thank you, brother. That's exactly what I needed to hear. Sami Zayn walks off. Off camera, Logan Paul throws a massive right punch, almost like one of the Big Show's punches. Instantly knocks Jey Uso out, and this was a little receipt from earlier. Decision time. We get Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins in the ring, and Seth Rollins basically says, bro, what's your decision? What are you thinking? Again, they revived the bromance that I had no idea was going on. Sami Zayn essentially says, for as long as you've known me, you've never known me to be a quitter. You've never known me to run away. You've never known me to lay down and be blackmailed, blackballed. And as much as I love you, this is me telling you to go to hell. Seth kind of nods. He stands in the ring. Bron Breakker's music hits. Bron Breakker and Paul Heyman walk to the ring. And this is kind of where this segment lost me, because they had a one-on-one match. And essentially this match ended with Sami Zayn getting destroyed. After about 10 minutes of a back and forth, Sami Zayn got hit with like 4 spears. He gets hit with a stomp. He's left in the middle of the ring. You have Paul Heyman, Sami Zayn, and Seth Rollins. Paul Heyman, Bron Breakker, and Seth Rollins standing tall. And I was just thinking to myself, if this was going to be your angle, you didn't really need to have the match. You could have just had Braun come out as this big brolic character and just destroy Seth Rollins, but it's a little nitpick. Overall, it was a very good episode of Raw, very enjoyable. I believe it was only 2.5 hours this week. I noticed Raws are usually shorter than SmackDowns, but this felt really good. It was a really quick watch. So that was it. Monday Night Raw in the books. I look forward to next week. But I will see you guys on Thursday Night Throwdown. Just a quick reminder, if this is your first time here, welcome. I do appreciate all the subs. I do appreciate the likes. If you guys are rocking with me, I'm not gonna force you to do anything. Obviously I can't. I'm just a dude talking to my phone, which I've said multiple times. But if you do rock with me, I'd appreciate a like. I'd appreciate a follow. Anything helps the channel grow. See you guys for Thursday Night Throwdown. You enjoy the rest of your night and drink some water.